This is the Disrupt Healthcare Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Disrupt Healthcare Podcast. Today, this episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm recording this just around 11:11 a.m. on August 11th. 9-year anniversary of my mom's death. Now, she died at 11:11 p.m., but I felt really compelled right now to do this. 9 is funny. It's actually my favorite number. It was my baseball number in high school. It's always been my favorite number, and I gotta tell you, I also think it's the reason today's just hit a little bit different. Um, you hear those podcasts, you hear those messages that grief and loss, it hits people different, all of these things. You never know that today has been rough. I'm not gonna lie. It's really kicked my ass in a different way. For those of you that don't know the story, my dad was diagnosed with multiple myeloma when I was in high school. It's cancer of your bone marrow. Chemo, radiation. Dad was on a lot of expensive medication, and my parents had to file bankruptcy. Um, in a Latin household, the dad is Optimus Prime. So my dad was the rock. Didn't cry, didn't show a whole lot of emotion. There wasn't a whole lot of I love yous and attaboys. Dad taught you the lessons you needed to learn to be a man. Um, Fast forward, I'm sure I'll talk about the middle part. 2014, I remember I was sitting in the Columbus airport. I could tell you exactly the shirt I was wearing. It was purple. And my mom tells me, "Are you sitting down?" I was like, "Actually, I'm standing up. What's going on?" She's like, "I have pancreatic cancer." And I didn't know what that even was. So, I've got her in my earbuds, right? And I'm Googling over here what pancreatic cancer. And I remember saying to her, "Mom, it says you're not even gonna live 3 more months." And I'll never forget this. She goes, "Who are you talking to? I'm gonna kick this cancer's ass." And that sentence is exactly all you need to know about my mother. Standing all of 5'2", a fiery Latin woman with white skin, could speak perfect Spanish, perfect English. You wouldn't even know she spoke the other language. Dance salsa like you wouldn't believe. Had 5 dishes she could cook and would make a sailor blush. Mom was a VA hospital nurse for 41 years, and I'll never forget, several of the things that come along with that story. Most of the time, and it's funny, growing up, I was born in Puerto Rico. My parents moved us to the States when I was almost 5, and you know, we were fortunate enough to grow up in a very cool neighborhood, a very Caucasian white neighborhood, and most of my friends were white. And it's funny having grow up and like now with social media, seeing the memes of like, this is what happens when you have a white mom, and this is what happens when you have a Puerto Rican mom, and that was the truth. Mom wasn't soft. There was no soft about her. She did know when you needed a hug, but mom loved hard. Mom loved tough. And I remember if Johnny was sick. Johnny's mom called off work, and Johnny stayed home, and mom stayed home. My brother or I were sick, and mom's first response would be, "Are you more important than our veterans?" And, there's a whole other stories along that, but mom just had this dedication to her job, to her customers, her patients, our veterans, and I've always admired that. I'll never forget at her funeral, a five-star general dressed in all white garbs, whole 9 yards, came to the funeral, didn't know who he was. 6'4", 6'5" dude, big. And, we asked people, "Hey, if you'd like to, tell a story, about mom, please come up." And he came up and he's like, "Well, let me tell you about the first time I met your mother. Um, I was getting wheeled into her department, and I guess I was fussing and being a cranky patient, and your mom says to me, 'Hey, I know on the battlefield you're the boss. When you're in here, I'm the boss. Lay back, shut the beep, 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 and sit there and do as you're told.'" And that started the friendship with your mother and I. And long story short, he would call her General Morales, and actually, mom would wear Chuck Taylors every day with matching scrubs. So if her scrubs were blue, her Chucks were white and blue. If the she was wearing purple scrubs, she'd have some sort of purple on her scrubs. Mom was just that way. Um, as you'll see back there, mom made me an entrepreneur. I'll never forget, going home and having a conversation. So mom's diagnosed, we're having a conversation, and she's like, you're telling me all these things about fixing healthcare and what you would do and what you would do over again, and I've heard this for years. When are you gonna stop being a wuss and actually do something about it? If this isn't a sign that life isn't guaranteed, I don't know what is. And I remember, whether you were, like, punched in the face, Mike Tyson's, quote, "Every man has a plan until they get punched in the face." If there was a little, like, Latino machismo in there of, like, "Psh, I'll show you," or if it was I was kinda scared at mom at times, standing all of 5'2", but she wore a nasty broom handle or chancleta or wooden spoon, so you didn't talk back. That was the moment I knew that I needed to do something different, and, it's interesting, I have cried no less than 17 times today. I might do it again, but today I felt something different. My business and quite honestly, most of my life has been wrapped up in business. Never been married. I don't have any kids. My life is this business, and it was just that business until I became an entrepreneur, and then it became so far more about the impact, about understanding all of those statistics. And I remember, like, things that I used to say when I was in, kind of the status quo world. And I used to say things that now I'm like, I can't even believe that that came out of my mouth. Um, so 9 years later, all I do is hear her voice right now. And, we're in the middle, like it's August, so we're starting, pre-renewal meetings and having renewal conversations with bigger clients. We just launched some new programs, and this business is new. Disrupt Healthcare is new. Our brand Disrupt is new. Everything is new, and I just heard her voice all morning. All morning, I have heard her voice. And I have this method that I I talk about her. I think about her in order to not miss her. It's kinda a little counterintuitive, but, like, I want her to be and today, I posted on LinkedIn, I posted on my personal social media, I'm hearing stories and reading things, and people are texting me, and my alarm clock says, "Get up, make them proud today." So just to give you an idea of, like, the level of focus I have on ensuring that I leave it out on the field with the impact and the opportunity that my parents gave me. And I heard her voice again. Am I I heard her voice again, and it was a challenge. It was like "Hello, you've done okay, but is this all you got?" And that would be so mom. Like, it would be so mom, and it came from a place that sounds rough, like, like nothing's ever enough, but you knew it came from such a warm spot of just her way of being able to say that you can do more, and I was asking myself, "Am I really doing everything I can?" Like, am I doing all of the things? And I gotta sit here as somebody who is as dedicated as anything. I work mad hours. I travel, sleep in a hotel 150 nights a year and have for the last 15 years. Like, I'll put my schedule up against everybody's. But when you start thinking about some of the say it a little softer, don't make anybody mad. Oh, you don't want to piss that person off. Today, for some reason, I feel like mom's telling me, like, screw that. Take off the gloves. Throw that punch. Throw the grenade. Burn that thing down. There is no second place. There is no no mulligan. Like, I've always said it, like, the thing I have been blessed about in this entrepreneurial journey is, like, I don't have kids. I've been making pretty good money my whole career, and, like, the worst case scenario, I always said, the worst case scenario is I call up XYZ insurance brokerage and say, "Hey, give me a job." And I get a job tomorrow. And today, I think the reason I felt compelled to to record this, and also I wrote, like, this manifesto is like, enough is enough. There is no, like, this isn't a little problem. These aren't little things. These are people's families. These are somebody's dad, mom, cousin, nephew, niece, daughter, son. These are families. These are companies that spend their hard-earned money to offer benefits to people who can't even afford it. And as a small business owner myself, like, it's a big expense. And so, um, the reality is we're gonna speak louder. We're gonna do more. Um, Healthcare has an information problem. The number of advisors and employers out there who've never heard the story because, like, the whole industry, like, is trapped in spreadsheets, in PowerPoints, in listening to the same 5, 10, 15 sources. It's the amount of innovation that occurs in other industries that people find because of commercials or willing to look, like, think about AI. Everyone's dabbled in it. They're getting it thrown in their face. But when's the last time an employer's, proactively said, "Hey, you know what? I saw that commercial on TV about an advocacy service that helps my employees navigate the healthcare system." Or did you know direct contracting has this Netflix special? Just doesn't happen. And, you know, Everybody talks about all the right things. I see all of these what I call LinkedIn brokers, right? Like they're out there like, "Oh, disruption. Oh, here's a buying guide to do something." And if you turned around and asked them, how many of your clients are actually doing the thing that you have that little social media post on? It'd be a fraction. Some of them 0. With AI now, you could tell it to go scrape some information, think like this, here's a couple talk track things, and make me a post, and people can be a posting cowboy. But the reality of it is the industry, the world, people, all of us need more. We need to talk louder. We need to scream from the mountaintops. We need to be saying like what's working, who's working, how is it working, what's screwed up. Don't do that again. Stop stepping in that banana peel. Oops, that was a pothole. Man, I need a mulligan. Whatever it is, but let's tell the story loud for the people in the back to be able to hear it. And you know, uh, the reality of this is if I expect the industry to change, but I am producing safe content or scheduling every 2 weeks worth of podcast, am I really doing the thing as the leader that I wanna be? Like, I wanna have the ball in my hand with 20 seconds left. I wanna run that 2-minute drill. And so, like, my old mentality would have been like, I'm gonna come up with an idea, I'm gonna schedule it, I'm gonna find a guest, I'm gonna record, and we're gonna do all this, and I'm like, "You know what? Screw this, I'm gonna hit record, and we're gonna jam." I'm gonna be reviewing a note, a Excel spreadsheet, a claim report, a something, and we're just gonna start recording. So this podcast episode, yeah, hey mom, thanks. I needed this fire, but it's also my commitment to the change that we are gonna do. So the Disrupt Healthcare podcast might as well start being the Disrupt Healthcare megaphone. Because the reality of it is we are just going to get up here and talk and show and do and challenge and give you the questions to ask. They're gonna be the podcast where we're gonna dive into deeper, conversations and things, the 30 minutes. There's gonna be quick hits. It's like one idea, one reaction, boom, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. There's gonna be case studies, like, there's gonna be a, "Hey, I just got this data report. What do you think about it?" There's gonna be things that we're gonna read and I'm gonna challenge, not because I'm trying to poo-poo on anybody else, because the industry doesn't change if we don't produce more. The reality of it is, it's still 90% plus of employers are still doing the status quo, and those 90% plus are represented by the same advisors. So, although we have grown a business, we've hired employees, we've done a lot of great stuff, we're not even a hair on an elephant's booty. Combined, take everybody that's doing all the cool stuff, all of us are not even a fragment of this, and until we grab that megaphone and start doing this, it just doesn't change. So, you know, I just wanna say thanks. I wanna say thanks to anybody who's ever sent me, especially today. God, did I need it today? Um, thank thanks for everybody who said something nice, especially the people who are like, "Your parents would be proud." I'm gonna cry right now. You have no idea reading that because you wonder it every day, right? I don't have kids, but I'm sure parents out there are always wondering like, "Hey, am I doing it right?" And I guess the thing that I think about a lot is like, am I being a leader? Am I being impactful? Are my parents proud of me? Do my nieces look up to me? So, thank you to anybody who sent a message today, responded to a post, um, thanks to mom and dad, um, I know my level of feistiness is coming from above for sure. Um, Partners, I mean, the we stayed in an Airbnb with 7 dudes last week, all talking, all vendors, competitors, 2 TPAs, PBMs, advocacy companies, our team, like, literally flip chart sheets around talking about how we can build the best thing, not who has the best thing. How do we build the best? It's just so awesome to have partners and friends and people to build with, and so, this podcast has no purpose other than I needed to apparently pick up a megaphone and start yelling from the rooftop. Um, you know, I I can only say that this whole conversation, this whole however many minutes I've been ranting, um, this is the why. This is 9 years of fire with 25, 30 years of experience, 35, 40 years of seeing people struggle with healthcare, and maybe it's the gray hair in my beard or in my head. I just don't care about being nice anymore. I don't care about being politically correct. I don't care about trying to convince. I wanna show, and I wanna be somebody who if you like what we say, like, "Come on, let's go." It ain't about me, it's not about me winning, it's not about our revenue, it's not about us making money. It's about changing an industry because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to ask your parents if you can go on the class trip and they don't have enough money for it. I know what it feels like to find that credit card statement and see $60,000 of debt. I know what it feels like to hit on the answering machine and hear that your dad's being diagnosed with cancer. I know what it's like to not have a normal high school because dad was in the hospital and mom never left his side. I know what it feels like to have your favorite person in this world, the one person that sup supported you, loved you, no matter what, right, wrong. She mighta hit me with a spoon, but she had my back. She always covered my 6. Um, I know what it feels like to lose that. So, I'll end this with a battle cry. All of the articles right now say that this 2027 renewal season is going to be the worst in 17 years, I think the PwC article said. It's not going to change unless we change it. The big people, the leaders don't want it to change because they've built businesses that support the way it's built today. The best part about this is that being part of the change is actually good for everybody involved, except the people that don't want it to change. It's good for hospitals. It's good for employers. It's good for employees. It's good for people's health. It's good for the American economy. It's just good. And mom, thank you. Thank you for being the fire in my belly, the kick in my rear. and the love in my heart. This is my promise to stop being nice, stop playing by the rules, and you're going to see a big change. You're going to hear a lot more, a lot louder, a lot bolder. We're going to do exactly what this company is titled. We're going to disrupt healthcare. And we're going to do it remembering it's not about the I, it's about the why. Love you, Mom.